Hi, welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken I talk about all things witchy, craft-related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today I wanted to talk about my Samhain practices. So I wanted to share a little bit more of my personal Samhain practices. Now, just know that on Saturday, October 31st, Halloween, aka Samhain, I'm doing a live at 5:30 Pacific time and 8:30 Eastern. I'll be sharing literally my practices right then and there. However, I wanted to kind of give a little bit of what I have been doing over the past few years, and well, I'll get into it right now so you know what I'm talking about. All right, so first off, the concept of the veil being thin. I think we've all heard that. Oh, the veil is thinning or the veil is thin. That's a very real concept to me. Years ago when I really started getting into my practice, and of course, if I'm calling myself a witch, Halloween was my moment to shine and really be a witch. So I really, regardless of whatever else I was doing all year long, Halloween was really a serious holiday for me. It was fun, and I got a chance to do fun things, but please know, I had serious intentions for how I would celebrate that day. And over the years, things have gotten a little bit more elaborate, which I like. And that's mostly because I've been in a position where I could do so, knowledge-wise, resources-wise, and so forth. But it's been a very real concept because as I learned and as I paid attention and as I honored my intuition, my higher self, I was able to then, once I have confidence inside, I was able to reach out and receive. And when I say that, I'm literally talking about communing and interacting with other spirits that were once in human form, and ones that I know that I would consider my ancestors. That's eventually what would end up happening. So I kind of just want to give a little story of what was leading up to Samhain, because remember, the veil is thinning. That concept, it's not just the day of, it's the lead up. So just a quick story. I had been having dreams. It started with a dream, honestly, about an aunt that had passed away. Okay, then it was her. It was building. It was building. I had interaction with her in her spirit form, many years prior to. I was pregnant with my first child the first time she contacted me. She had passed with an illness. It had been less than a year that I had known that she had the illness, or that I believe she really knew. I don't know. We'll never really know the full details of that, but she was fairly young. She was only in her early 30s, if 30, 31 or something. Anyway, she passed on, and I was pregnant. I hadn't told anybody yet. I'd been going through a lot dealing with that. No one up until that point, young, had ever died in my life. And that's really key when you are younger. You really don't think people are going to die, but yeah, that's way down the road. So it had a definite effect on me, and I was having crazy dreams anyway because I was pregnant, and then that when I had an interaction with her there. So fast forward years later, said baby that I was pregnant with at that point is a teenager now, early teens, and this is my aunt's coming to me again. But the first time she wasn't speaking, and the next time it was like she was imprinting her messages, but it wasn't whole phrases. So I really needed to be aware of what she was trying to communicate to me. But ultimately, she wanted me to talk to her son, and I couldn't get to him to deliver the message. To this day, I wrestle with that, to be honest with you. I try to make peace with it, but it still kind of eats me up inside a little bit, and it's effed up because I can't even years later talk to that son of hers, because I don't feel like my message, one, what is the purpose? Time is already gone by, but which is going to tie into my next thing. It's complicated when those who have passed on try to reach out to you. And I'm bringing this up because around this time of the year, a lot of you are probably having these experiences. And you go to try to tell your other family members, and if they're not about this life, this witchy life, or they spook easy. Because some people, it's not even that they have they don't reject witchcraft per se. It's just that they're scared. They're just scared of everything. So good luck with that. And that's kind of what I'm touching on. Part of my practice has been to learn to kind of navigate that. I only talk to people who I know are willing to listen. Also, if I feel compelled, I might put myself out there anyway, because I think the message is more important than, rejection, or, being told I'm crazy, or, the condescending way of like, okay, if that's what you believe happened, that sort of thing. If that were to happen, I have pushed myself to people who I know maybe are not in alignment with what I believe. I can count on one hand how many times I did that, because I haven't found people very receptive to the messaging that you give them, unfortunately. And these are people they're just not, and it's rough, because the question I remember asking, why contact and tell me? Why not go directly to them? Well, I could tell you there's a couple of reasons why they may not go directly to the person. I'm talking about like spirits that have passed on, your family, ancestors, so forth. The reason they may not go to the person directly is because the person is not receptive. And you are. I am. So that's why they'll do that. Also, children sometimes have, especially some of us growing up, we've had experiences as children where, you see something, whether you're asleep or awake, people, who supposedly had died, they're talking to the kids, and the kids say, no, I just talked to Uncle George, or, last night, he just told me X, Y, Z, and whatever the thing is he said is like real, it applies to real life. So, sometimes they'll go to them because children don't have that barrier up. But once we get older, a lot of us do, unfortunately, and it gets very complicated overall, just trying to deal with that. The messaging, like I said, till this day, because it still happens, I'm very mindful about who I relay messages to. And I'm not trying to get in the way of honoring those that have passed on, honoring the dead, so to speak. I'm not trying to stop that process of whatever messaging, but at the same time, I'm in the living, I gotta live, and I gotta, protect myself and my family, my immediate family I'm talking about now, as well. So I'm only gonna put myself out there, but so much, because it could be risky. And some of us have different type of family members where you tell them something like that, and, it could change the family dynamic, so to speak. Like it could change things because they have an opinion of you, they share that with other family members, and it just becomes something else. And this is even for people who are out of the broom closet, Still, same situation. It's complicated. The other thing I just want to say about this is making sure to protect myself when I'm having these interactions. So I tend to beef up my protection spells and things like that, and add a little more witchy oomph to it. Around this, actually before this time, I'm obsessed with planners, so I'm always planning. So I have a video where I set up like a witch's bottle, a protection bottle, that is still very prominently displayed. Sage regularly, just overall cleansings, a little more often, because I know energy it's coming, that veil's thin, is coming through. And when I'm doing so, I'm basically just allowing, what I'm saying is I want to clear the space, because I do want to have the interactions, right? So I don't want to eliminate all spirits from entering my sacred space, but I put conditions on it. And you can do that in your protection. It was a hard lesson to learn, by the way. If you've just seen my other video, I talk a little bit about that, where I did not do that at one point in my life. And it wasn't even about Halloween, just in general. And I didn't have my protection up, and things ensued because of that. But I'm wiser. I've gotten a lot wiser over the years. But yeah, protection is key, to be honest. Like, in all seriousness, please protect yourself, because I haven't given a lot of stock to the concept that other entities masquerading as relatives, deceased relatives, are kind of, entering into your sacred space, whatever that is. But, when I say sacred space, I literally mean whatever space that you're in when you're having these interactions. It could be in your bed, your bedroom, your house. My whole house is sacred space. So, I don't, like I said, give a lot of stock into that, because honestly, I've not had that type of experience. I'm not saying it can't happen, but the way I commune is not just, oh, so-and-so, I think so-and-so came to me and they told me this, and I just ride on that. No, we about to go ahead and do a low-key seance, and I'm going to have a little bit more interaction with you, because I need to know who you are. And I basically prove who you say you are. Now, a lot of times I don't have to do it, because back to the case of the aunt that passed, there was a fragrance, a scent that I associated with her. It was like sweet baked treats, like bakery items, things like that. She used to think she smelled like a bakery. I was like, why do you smell like pastries all the time? I used to always say that to her. That, and there's certain songs I hear, and I know that's connected to her. If both those things come to coincide, and I'm nowhere near a bakery, and there's no reason for this song that is almost old as me to come on the radio, and I know she loved it, those are coincidences. And, oh, by the way, I'm having these dreams, so yeah, then I know that there's more to it. She's making contact, so to speak. But just another little quick story on this. Again, just actually a closer amount of time away, just a couple years ago. We were still living in Florida, so we've only been here a year and some months, so it's not that long ago. I had did another ritual on, and I wasn't filming or anything, but I did a ritual on Samhain, and I made contact with quite a few relatives. Now, that's the first time on that to this degree. I remember, I wrote everything down too in my Book of Shadows, because this was huge to me to reach so many people. I reached, let me think, uncle, aunt, and I think it was one other person. But I was always a little, I think we weren't related, but they were like family to me. You got me? So those are the people that came in contact. So my uncle, I recall, apologizing to me. He told me he was sorry. He didn't do anything to me per se, just very clear, but I kind of felt like I never really knew him, and he was mean, and I didn't like a lot of his choices in life. And then unfortunately he died. He got sick and died at a relatively young age, in my opinion. But yeah, I wish that I had a relationship with him. It's interesting, because now that I'm reconnecting with other people and they knew him, it's like, well, I didn't get that. I didn't get that guy. Something happened in, teen years, early adulthood, because I didn't get that guy. The guy that I got was mean, and I was afraid of him. But he came through in a reading to me and apologized. That was actually and I accepted his apology. I knew my great uncle was reaching out to me, because just how do I explain this? When I'm having those connections, there's not always words, okay? So what I do is I use tarot cards to help sort of as a guide, and you'll see if you tune in on my live on Saturday. So I use tarot cards as a guide to help guide me through the communication. But it doesn't just stop with the cards. It's not like I just read the cards and that's it. Sometimes it's like, for lack of better words, they imprint an image in my head out of literally nowhere. It wasn't like something I was thinking. and they'll present themselves. I'll get that image, and like, boom, oh, so it's Uncle So and So. Now I know who it is. The image, like it's just something. A memory pops up in my head completely out of nowhere. I wasn't even thinking about that person, especially the family friend. I hadn't thought about that person in forever. I didn't even, when they passed on, I was still pretty young, like maybe in my teens, and it didn't register, to be honest, but they liked me. They've always liked me, and even on the other side, they still look out for me. And that wasn't the first time that I had contact with that person. But anyway, so I'm sharing all this because I'm hoping that you realize that there's more than one way to go about this. And your experience might be totally different. Some people hear things, like they legit hear conversations. Some people just see images, get a vision. And I don't mean like in a TV way, but a vision, like I said, imagery comes into your head where it's like, where the heck did that come? And then you realize what's going on. But I'm doing this in an environment where I'm actively participating and initiating whoever, wants to come through. So I know, what's going on. But when I get that imagery, I know who it is. So I don't have a thing where I feel like I'm being tricked and it's really somebody else, some other entity that I don't know about. Knocking on wood here, that hasn't been my experience. So that's about that. So anyway, the other part of my practice, which is a relatively newer practice, is setting my witchy intentions. And that became a bigger thing just a handful of years ago. It wasn't always that big of a thing with me. I was always familiar with the concept of the witch's new year. So what do you do for most of us New Year's, the one January 1st New Year? Most of us set intentions for the year, whether it's weight loss, I'm going to get on a dating site, I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to have a baby, I'm not going to get pregnant this year, I don't know. Whatever your intention is. Same applies for this time of year, for Samhain. So I encourage you, if you're watching this, make sure that you start setting your witchy intentions. So I keep it cute and call it witchy intentions, but basically what I do is I write out, what do I intend to happen going forward until the next, which is New Year, or indefinitely, typically, but I set it in those parameters. And it could be just to reinforce what already is going on, by the way. It doesn't always have to be something, different. Things can be going great and you just want more of that. And that's perfectly fine. Your intention is to continue on this path. I'm kind of in the same mindset at this point. My intentions is honestly just to continue on this path that I'm on and to be open to new concepts, new ideology, anything to influence my current practice in a positive way. That's enough right there. Now, for people who either are new or have been out and not really practicing and they're trying to get back in, especially if you're watching this is the perfect time. You can also do a self initiation back into the craft, a reinitiation back into the craft. This is a perfect time to do that, and it kind of goes hand in hand with setting your intentions, because your intention is to practice, to get back into practicing regularly your witchcraft. So just something to think about. In the past, I've honestly, I'll be quite frank, I've had intentions to become a more powerful witch. And what does that mean? Well, for me, it meant spells that work. It meant feeling more witchy, feeling powerful, knowing and having this confidence and the strength to wield magic, And it might sound a little bit corny, when I say it like that, but honestly, that's really what we're doing. That's the best way I can kind of describe it, but I wanted to feel that. I really wanted to do that. Now, I hate to have to keep saying this, but not like in a TV way. But you guys, y'all know that, right? Okay, good. Not in a TV way, just for what it meant to me. In other times, it's been to have more connection. connection to spirits, connection to ancestors, to and then other times it was to a specific deity or a deity, because I felt like, is this something I need to add to my practice? Because for years I didn't have any sort of deity practicing rituals, anything. I didn't work with a god or goddess of any sort for some time. I didn't acknowledge any particular one. So that was because I didn't want to fake it. And I felt like in the beginning when I was Wiccan, I was faking it. So I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't think that was very respectful. So I just said, well, when it comes, it comes. And there we go. And, that's how it worked. But yeah, I think it's important to set intentions. It's worked for me, by the way. I just told you what they were. Some of them were. They have worked for me over the years. And the other thing that's kind of important is to remember to check back in with your intentions, meaning check where you wrote them. If you're somebody like me, I like to make lists because it might be more than one thing. Make sure it's in a place where you can find it and look at it throughout the year. So I'm going to advocate a planner in this, at this part. Set up your witchy planner, your pagan planner, your spiritual planner. And for October, maybe you want to add a separate sheet or just write out, however you have your planner set up on that day. Maybe you want to write out your intentions, or add a note to that section. And, as months go by, go back and look at it. How are you aligning with those intentions? Are you still, aligned with that? And it's okay, by the way, if you're not, because things happen. You might have been thinking, well, I intend to just stay on the path that I'm on and just to continue to gather knowledge and just to learn, and that's fine for you. Where going into next year, you may get to do that, but there might be other things where you're no longer just learning and just stocking up on knowledge. You might be called to practice said knowledge, all the things, because things happen. So that's one of those things, you might have to revise what your intentions were. But hey, that's what we got full moons and new moons are all about, right? We get a chance to mix it up a little bit. So there's that. And also you could just write in your grimoire, diary, whatever, book of shadows. Just write your stuff down. That's all I'm saying. So I like to write the intentions on a piece of paper and then burn it on Samhain. Now, my intentions, that is. So although I burn it, I write them someplace else so I know exactly what it was and I can keep track, because it's still a goal that I want to achieve, after a certain period of time, or within a certain period of time. So I want to be reminded of it. So yeah, I burn it, but I still write it down someplace else. So just a thing. Other practices I'd like to get into going forward. I've never done a dumb supper. And that's the thing, in short, just to kind of make it quick, you put a plate of food in an empty chair, and it's basically for, a spirit that is passed on, deceased family, whoever you want it to be. But yeah, you leave a place at the table for that person that is passed on. So I've never done that. I don't like the word dumb supper, but that's what people call it. That's what it's called. Anyway, I'd be interested in trying that. An in-person ritual with other people. That might be fun. I'm interested in doing that. Obviously, 2020 would not be the year for that to gather, but going forward, I would be open to it. And performing a more elaborate ritual outside, like not inside my home. So for me, it's not just enough to be outside doing a ritual, but something elaborate, where, let's say I have a clearing and I actually, have all the candles set up in a circle and something that looks very ceremonial, something extravagant with a bunch of, all the props and all that stuff around and the gowns and all that. Like, yeah, I'd be really interested in doing something on that level. Again, outside my home, somewhere in nature, where I'm at now. I guess I could climb the top of a mountain with all my supplies on a backpack. I first have to start getting into climbing. I just got back into the gym this week, so maybe that's a new intention I can make for next year. I'm gonna need a year's practice. But anyway, or, in the middle of the desert, I guess, but, I'm not really a snake person, and I know they're in the middle of the desert, so we'll see. Anyway, but I'll work out the details. The point is, it'd be something I'd be interested in doing, so we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it, though. Just a little bit more personal about my practices for Samhain, aka Halloween, and a little bit more kind of details on why I do these things. So if you take away anything, set your witchy intentions. If you're getting messages and you're, basically you're having communication with family members who have passed on, and they want you to deliver messages. Hey, listen, do what you're going to do. Depending on the message, you're going to have to use some discernment, but on some level, you might have to, it's complicated. I'll just say that. The takeaway is it can get complicated. You might have to kind of finesse the situation to tell somebody without telling them. I don't know. When I figure it out, I'll let you know. They don't come to me very often with messages. I'm glad they don't come to me very often wanting me to tell them something, tell a family member something. I'm very grateful for that. I don't want to be that person. I'm not the ghost whisperer. I don't want to be. I don't want that chance. I don't want that role. All right, so that's all I got. Thanks for watching. This is Mika, Lead Taken. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you if you've already subscribed. And again, Saturday, October 31st, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, YouTube. I'll be live. Lead Taken will be live. And I'm going to be doing a bunch of fun stuff. It'll get serious for a moment because I'm serious about my ritual, and my readings. But, otherwise it'll just be fun, a sense of community for us witches, a place to virtually hang out. So, consider go ahead and popping in and saying something and communicating and all that other stuff. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.